Hello, everybody. Welcome into GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Monday, April 14th. I hope everybody's having a great day so far. We have a lot to get into. Basketball finished up their regular season over the weekend. It's a big basketball-heavy show. We're going to start off with the playoffs as it is set. We'll go over the 3-6 and the 4-5 matchups in both the Eastern and the Western conferences. Then we'll dive a little bit into the play-in games before getting into what's going on with the awards. Black Monday, some people fired in the NBA as well, and then we'll finish off our show taking a little bit of a peek at the transfer portal as Nico Yameleva has officially entered the portal, no longer going to Tennessee. We'll talk about where he might end up and much more. But before we get into any of that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you're on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Monday, April 14th. But like I was saying, we are going to start off our show here with a little bit of a deep dive into what's going on in the NBA. The NBA playoffs officially set. The NBA playoffs, all seeds 1 through 6, I should say, are set. The play-in tournament will start tomorrow, and that's what we'll figure out where the 1 seed and the 2 seed get their matchup. But we're going to start off in the Eastern Conference. We're going to start off with the 3 seed Knicks taking on the 6 seed Pistons. This matchup is going to be one of the best of the first round. A lot of these matchups, I think, are set up to be pretty good. But this one is a matchup between a young and hungry Pistons squad, a Pistons squad that came from one of the worst seasons in NBA history last year to being a playoff team, not just a play-in team, but a playoff team this year, going up against a Knicks team that I think I can say had a little bit of a disappointing season. They claimed that 3 seed, they won 50 games, but at the end of the day, this is a Knicks team that still struggled against the best teams in the league. This is a series that I think is going to go a very, very long way. And the one thing that really concerns me with the Knicks, as it does with any other Tom Thibodeau team, is the fact that they play their starters so much. Jalen Brunson is coming off of an injury. He is someone that they desperately need. We saw them go 500 without him, which is fine. You've still got OG Anunoby, and you still have Cat, and you still have Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart and all these guys that are ready to go play a lot of basketball. But this is a team that is going to beat you with its starting 5. The Pistons, on the other hand, are big and physical. Big and physical, I think, are the opposite of what is good for the Knicks right now. And the way that the Pistons are playing, they're pretty hot right now. I know they dropped a couple to the Bucks down the stretch there at the end of the season going to that 6 seed, but still, this is a Pistons team that I think with their intensity and, again, their physicality is bad for a team like the Knicks, especially down the stretch. Now, I do think that this is going to be a 7-game series. I think this one goes down to the wire because Jalen Brunson is going to be able to be Jalen Brunson. Clutch player of the year, most likely Jalen Brunson is going to be able to step up and do his thing as he has all season long for the Knicks. But the Pistons are not a team you want to sleep on. Cade Cunningham has come out of his shell and playing like that number 1 pick that he is. Malik Beasley off the bench is over there for 6th man of the year. Again, they're big, they're physical, they play together, they play like they're having fun out there, and they're never out of a game. Their defense is pretty solid. Their offense, as long as it runs through Cade and Cade is having a good night, kind of like Jalen Brunson, he can keep them in the game. This is going to be a tight series. I think the Pistons are just a little bit too young, and I think a Game 7 in the Garden is not going to be good for them. So I have the Knicks winning this one in 7 to take on the winner of the Celtics versus the 7 seed. The Pacers versus Bucks are the 4-5 seed, and I think this one is going to be a lot of fun. This is a rematch from the first round of last year's Eastern Conference first round series, where the Pacers took care of the Bucks pretty easily. A lot of that because injuries. This is a much different Bucks team now. You're most likely not going to have Damian Lillard. He's dealing with that blood clot issue, but you are going to have to deal with Giannis. And Giannis is playing out of his mind right now. Giannis Antetokounmpo is averaging over 30 points a game, averaging over 10 rebounds a game, averaging nearly a triple-double since Dame has gone away. He is a dark horse in that MVP race. He's not going to win it. He's a distant third, but he is a distant third ahead of everybody else too, in my opinion. He is someone that is having an incredible season right now, and the way he's playing basketball makes me think he can beat just about anybody. But this is a Pacers team that is very different as well. It's not just the Bucks, right? The Bucks have Giannis, but they lost Dame. They traded away Middleton. Now they're big stars. We're talking about Kyle Kuzma, who could go hot or cold in any series. Bobby Portis is back. That's huge. But the Pacers, a relatively similar team, still led by Halliburton, Siakam, in that core from last year, have a couple guys that have really stepped up recently this season. Mathurin has been huge for them this year. He's an excellent guy coming off the bench. This is a Pacers team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, a hard-fought season for them. They won 50 games again, right? They got home court advantage for a reason. They're very good. But at the end of the day, the Bucks have the best player on the court, and I think that's what it's going to take in this series. I think both of these go a long way. I'm taking the Bucks in 7 in this one. I think both of these teams, the Bucks, the Pacers, the Pistons, all four of them, Pacers, Pistons, Knicks, and Bucks, all four of them could end up advancing to the next round. But the way I'm looking at it, I'm taking the best player to step up in the big moments in both of these, and that's Jalen Brunson and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I think those are the guys that are going to find their teams a way to victory. We also have to talk a little bit about the 1 and the 2 seed, right? The Cavs play the 8 seed. They're not going to find that out for a while. The Celtics are playing the 7 seed. The 7 seed, of course, the winner between the Magic and the Hawks there. I think both of those teams advance to the second round pretty easily, but we'll have to see what those matchups are. We'll go over the play-in tournament in the next segment. The Western Conference, though, has 2 more really interesting series. The Lakers versus the Timberwolves. Of course, the Lakers are always going to be a big priority. They've really stepped it up this year. JJ Redick has done an amazing job for this Lakers team. You have LeBron James, who's an ageless wonder, but now he gets to take a step back, be a number 2. It's Luka's Lakers, not LeBron's Lakers now, because Luka Doncic is the best player on the court in this series. Anthony Edwards has been amazing. That's nothing against him. But Anthony Edwards, a guy who won the three-point contest this year in the league, or not the three-point contest, was the three-point champion, I should say, made the most threes in the league, has been carrying this team, and they've been really hot of late, but the Timberwolves also find a way to play down to their competition a lot. This is not the same Timberwolves team from last year. You don't have Cat as an offensive engine. It's all Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle has been better as of late. When they're playing together with Julius Randle, this team has been a lot better, which is why they found their way up into the 6th seed. But the Lakers are a different beast. The one thing that I'm very concerned about with the Lakers, and the one thing that I think is going to stop them from going too far in this tournament, is the fact that they don't really have a big. And that hasn't really mattered down the stretch here, right? They lose Anthony Davis. They've turned to Jackson Hayes, and he's done a really solid job for them, right? It's not like he hasn't done a good job, but Jackson Hayes, when you get to playoff atmosphere, basketball changes. One thing that I'd like to look at for an example of this is Rudy Gobert, fittingly on the other team in this series. Rudy Gobert racks it up in the regular season. He has he is up there for most defensive player of the year awards ever. You think about back to his time with the Utah Jazz, where he was just winning every single year. But then when it got to playoff basketball, despite his great defense, teams would attack him because he was like a rock. He just kind of stood there at the bottom of the paint. Playoff basketball is different than regular season basketball, kind of fundamentally. And I'm a little worried about how the front court of the Lakers is going to be able to respond to this fundamental change. Now, I trust that they'll be okay. And I think getting a matchup with the Timberwolves in the first round is huge. I think if they had to go up against the Warriors like it was projected before the weekend started, that would not have been too good for them, right? I really don't think that would have worked out. But I think since they get the matchup of the Timberwolves, I think it might be good for them to be able to wet their feet there a little bit, get Jackson Hayes some playoff experience, and I think the Lakers find a way to advance to the next round. I'm taking Lakers in 6 in this one. Anthony Edwards is going to be able to steal a game or two. He led this team to the conference finals last year. It's going to be tight, though. I take the Lakers in 6. Then one of my favorite series, the Nuggets versus the Clippers. The Nuggets, of course, fired their coach. They're 3-0 since. Jokic is playing at an MVP level of basketball, right? He's averaging a triple-double this year, just the 3rd player ever to do it, and he's going to be the 1st player ever to do it that won't win an MVP. The Clippers, on the other hand, are red hot. 7 straight games, including one in overtime against the Warriors that sent them to the playoffs and the Warriors to the play-in. The Clippers are led by James Harden, a healthy James Harden, who's playing at an all-NBA level this season, as well as Kawhi Leonard, who is completely healthy right now, and that is huge. We have not seen healthy Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs since he got injured in the playoffs in the deepest run the Clippers have made in a very long time. Kawhi Leonard playing amazing basketball. You still have all of those pieces that were leading them without Kawhi Leonard stepping up. Norm Powell's been playing amazing all season long, right? You have Bogdanovich over there, who's going to be able to step up and hit a couple threes. He's been playing a lot better as of late. Down low, talk about Zubac. He has been amazing for the Clippers all season long. This is a dangerous Clippers squad, but it's tough when you got to go up against Jokic. It's going to be tough for Jokic, though. Again, I think Jokic on his own can take this series to 6 or 7 because Jokic is just that special of a player. I think the difference in this series is going to be what's going on with Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, his partner in crime in the pick and roll up top for the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray is someone that I think needs to be playing at playoff Jamal Murray level. This is a Nuggets team that in the non-Jokic minutes is devastating. Jokic is giving them historic numbers offensively. But without him, this team is different, and especially without the presence of Jamal Murray to be there. Now, Russell Westbrook has been in there. He's been solid for them, but he's starting to cut his minutes cut just a little bit as we get deeper and deeper into the season. This is going to be a big test for Adelman as a new interim head coach. He seems like someone that knows what he's doing over there. Again, they're 3-0 since they fired Mike Malone. But I just think this Clippers team is playing better, and I love the combination of James Harden and Kawhi Leonard to take care of business. I'm taking the Clippers in 7 games. I just don't trust the depth of the Nuggets there. The Thunder and the Rockets. This one's going to be really interesting. The Thunder hold the 1 seed. They can play any of the 4 teams, right? The Rockets, on the other hand, they hold the 7 seed. They're either going to be playing the Warriors or the Grizzlies. Let's be honest, it's probably going to be the Warriors. That's a tough matchup. We've seen them match up before. We've seen them match up recently. The Rockets took care of business in the most recent matchup, but that one would be really interesting to watch. A young Rockets team, a young Thunder team versus 2 teams in the Mavs, most likely, I think, or the Grizzlies, or the Warriors, all that have a lot of experience and are hungry to prove that they belong in the playoffs. So the Western Conference, I think, is going to be super tight, but we'll talk a little bit more about that when we find out who wins those play-in games. We'll go more in depth with those series, but we are going to go into the play-in games in a second. That's up next. Our next segment, we'll talk about what those play-in games are going to be like. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. Who do you have winning the 3-6 and 4-5 series in the Eastern and Western Conferences? Who do you have coming out of the Western and the Eastern Conferences? We'll do a much deeper playoff breakdown once we have the full bracket set. But for now, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we turn our attention to those play-in games. The play-in games for the NBA kick off tomorrow. We're going to predict each one of them and then go into the 1 versus 8 and the 2 versus 7 matchups that would be coming up after that. We'll talk about that coming up next here on GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast.